Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of Black and Beautiful Chit Chat Connections, a professional platform with an authentic twist. I want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of our Black and Beautiful family. We do not discriminate, so all are welcomed here. Thank you for another great day. Today's topic is policing Blackness. And this is probably going to be more than just one part because as I started doing my research, I'm like, I'm going to have to unpack this. I'm going to have to unpack what even Blackness even means, right? And so I want you guys to hang in there with me. This will be like a little intro because we're on a journey. We're on a journey to equity. We're on a journey to righteousness. We're on a journey to a space where you can be your authentic self and someone has to allow you to show up that way, unapologetically, speaking all truth to power. So thank you. Thank you for joining me. I know I thanked you already. I want to make sure that I put in a plug for our Instagram. All of our links will be in the comments below. I'll make sure that I'll provide you with spaces to get in contact with us if you have any questions. Imana Barina presents Black and Beautiful Chit Chat Connections. We have an Instagram. We have a Twitter. You can follow us on Instagram at Imana Barina Inc. Follow us on Twitter at Imana Inc. And we also have a LinkedIn if you're on that professional platform. I haven't decided on whether or not I want to be on Facebook. Shout out to Facebook, but I don't know. We'll think about that. Nevertheless, let's get into it. So I ended up going through a 28-day workshop called White Supremacy and Me. And this was written by the beautiful Layla F. Saad. She is from the UK, if I'm not mistaken, an African from the UK who did this amazing workshop. Let me show you her book. I don't know if you guys can see that. Actually, it's Me and White Supremacy. And it's called Combat Racism, Change the World, and Become a Good Ancestor. And she was also on the New York Times. She was endorsed by Elizabeth Gilbert, who is a New York Times bestselling author. I went through this. She also had a live workshop with the hashtag Me and White Supremacy. Layla, if you ever get a chance to see this video, thank you for this. Thank you for the amazing information that you were able to give us to have us move forward into a transformational space. The goal is to have us become a transformational society, a society that, champions diversity. I want to say values, equitable structures, and lives on the principles of inclusion. I mean, I feel like we can't make that a hashtag, but we could definitely incorporate that into our professional platform with an authentic twist. So nevertheless, I was going through Me and White Supremacy and I came across Anti-Blackness. It was a 3-day part of the 28-day workshop. And when I got to Anti-Blackness, a lot of it was very, very triggering for me as a woman of color, in particular, a Black woman of color, because I had seen some of these anti-Blackness principles, not only obviously in white spaces, but also within the spaces that I frequent. And these are other people of color, and I saw that they were anti-Black as well. And of course, it gave me a foundation to understand anti-Blackness as a leg of white supremacy to ensure that the perpetuated systems and cycles continue. But to see it and unpack it, it was triggering. And so policing Blackness was born. Because I then started to see it in different areas. I work with students in the higher education sector, and we'd be at all white or predominantly white institutions, and there was the in Black crowd and the out Black crowd, or there's the in socialite Black crowd and then there's the out socialite Black crowd. And I'm like, this looks like policing to me. This says, oh, this person, what is Black enough? This person's not Black enough to be with us. Or this person's too black to be with us. Or this person is a militant. It's like blackness is not one dimensional in my mind. It's multidimensional. Blackness is just think about the sky. My brother, I want to give excuse me for stuttering, but I want to give an example. So my brother teaches my nephew, and I'm going to invite my brother on. Shout out to Minister Willie. We're going to bring him on about Christianity in the workplace. Keep your eye out for that. We're working on that podcast. And I mean, he's going to bless you guys. He really is going to bless you. We're going to pray. We're going to make sure that we're giving you all the tools you need as a Christian. Navigating the workspaces are very, very hard. And so shout out to Willie, Minister Willie. He will be gracing us in the near future. So nevertheless, he's teaching my nephew the color black is the most beautiful color in the universe. And when you ask my nephew, like, why is black the most beautiful color in the universe? And he goes, because every single color fits in the color black, Auntie. The cutest thing. And all the stars and every piece of the universe is has a black background. Even so, right? I found that to be so amazing. I said, oh, this baby is learning that the color black is just so amazing. But I also recognize too that whenever you go to a jeweler, I don't know if you guys have ever been to a jeweler or if you've ever seen, when they take photographs on Instagram or Tumblr, they always put a diamond behind a black velvet backdrop so that the diamond could be more illustrious and more brilliant. The color of black brings out such amazing things. And so the anti-blackness it triggers me. Nevertheless, so I want us to go into a little bit of, so I shared white supremacy, me and white supremacy with you. It's a great 28-day workshop. Imana Barrena utilizes some of its principles. Obviously, Layla, we credit you in terms of our anti-racism trainings. So if you're interested in having some curated training, some curated dialogues around this particular workshop that brings you to become and champion anti-racism and become transformative, please reach out to us, www.imanabarrena.org. You can sign up for a free consultation and we'll go from there. But I want you guys to know that resources are everywhere. I have, post George Floyd, and I hate using that as like a term. It's like a buzzword now. But nevertheless, post George Floyd, I got so many text messages like, hey, do you have any resources? Do you have any resources that you can send so that we know, what to utilize or language to use? And I'm like, why am I the resource? Why didn't you just Google? We have the information highway everywhere. So I encourage you guys, the resources are everywhere. Do your homework. The way that you're able to become and champion anti-racism and transformational work is by learning on your own, finding your own resources, formulating your own opinions, coming up with a comprehensive understanding of what racial literacy, cultural literacy, racism, antagonism, anti-black, white supremacy, white privilege. Like, it is your job to do this work. And so don't be afraid to read. My mom used to say, some people so dumb they'll eat their name off a banana peel. And that always made me laugh, like, wow, I don't want to be that person who eats my name off a banana peel. That means I didn't even look at the banana peel. So I'm asking you, I'm imploring you, look at the banana peel. Look up your resources. Go and find the information that you're looking for. Please do not lean on the people of color in your networks to be your resource. It's not fair. It's not fair. Along with all of the antagonization that they get every day, along with the harm that they experience, along with the self-doubts and the questioning and the having to navigate white supremacy, to be your resource, I mean, it's just not fair. And if you care about your BIPOC community, if you care about your friends and your family and the people that you know and love, you don't expect them to be your resource. So I implore you, do not eat your name off a banana peel and go out there and get your resources for yourself. Google is a great search engine. Shout out to Google. I hope you guys endorse me one day. Okay, so let's move on. policing blackness. So this might be a little bit triggering, and like I said, I'm laying a foundation. So this is going to be a multi-part series. I feel like we need more time to think through and talk and, process. I think that's very important. So I'm just gonna do some foundational work today, and I'm gonna start off with Willie Lynch. Now, I had to stop because I know everybody needs to process. I mean, those of you who know who Willie Lynch is. Because Willie Lynch is very triggering to some people who are knowledgeable of his existence. Willie Lynch was a slave owner, domesticator of slaves. He was a slave owner in the West Indies, and he traveled the world during the global slave trade, teaching people, much like my business, teaching people how to be anti-racist. He taught people how to domesticate slaves and get them to, he called it stealing their minds but leaving their bodies. And so Willie Lynch was this slave domesticator. That's the word I was looking for. He was a slave domesticator. And one of his tactics was to break a slave the way that you break a horse. So I don't know if some of you are equestrian, some of you like riding. I know I have a friend, she loves horses. That horse had to be broken in order for it to listen to you and be domesticated as an animal. Especially I went to a racetrack and I did a tour, and they talked about the things that they did with the horses, especially the horses that were like wild and wanted to be free. There were a lot of consequences for that horse because that horse had to be broken. And so some of those, or all of those principles that you use to domesticate a horse were used to domesticate African slaves that came to the Americas. Do your research. Just type in Willie Lynch. If you don't believe me, do your own research. I want you all, because I watched this minister. His name is Kevin L. Ewing. And for those of you who are Christians, I got to take this segue. He preaches the unadulterated word of God. Like, I've learned so much. But the one thing that Kevin says, and shout out to you, Kevin, my Bahamian brother. We from the Bahamas too, babe. We from the Bahamas. I love it. He from Freeport, my family from Freeport. We probably know each other. Anyway, Kevin always says, do your own research. Don't believe Kevin. So I'm going to take a page out of his book. Do your own research. Don't believe Charlene. Just don't take my word for it. Go and do your own research. Remember the banana peel. Do not eat your name off a banana peel. So go and do your own research. Type in Willie Lynch. Read his letter. Read the way that he domesticated slaves. Now, one of the important things that I wanted us to think about was this quote from Willie Lynch. He said he had a foolproof method. The way that he got famous and made money all over the world was because he felt, quote, I have a foolproof method that will control slaves for at least 300 years. Now, during the global slave trade, all of these slave masters were interested in their economic enterprises. And their economic enterprise was the exchange of money for human flesh. So to them, 300 years, that means my family's family will be good. And I would love for us to explore later on in another episode how many families in America, remember how we use that term, old money? Oh, that's old money. How many of them are descendants of slave masters? Because according to Willie Lynch, he had the foolproof method. Foolproof, that's a tongue twister. Foolproof method on how to control slaves for over 300 years. And to take it even a step further, not only did he know that he could control slaves for over 300 years, he said even if those slaves were free, these methods would continue to perpetuate themselves for almost 450 years. Let that sink in. I have to let it sink in because I'm just like, I know it, but every time I think about it, I'm just like, really? Okay, so he said he found that taking the differences between slaves and making them bigger was a part of his plan. His foolproof plan. Forgive me for not being able to say foolproof plan. And he said he would exaggerate these differences to make them seem bigger through the use of fear, distrust, and envy, all in the means of control. So let me repeat that. He identified the differences between the slaves, then he exaggerated them and made them bigger than what they were. And he used distrust, envy, and fear to control. That was his framework. If we're looking at frameworks, that was Willie Lynch's framework. His framework was fear, distrust, and envy as a means to control by exaggerating the differences between the slaves. I mean, my people were enslaved, so I'm not trying to give credit, but sounds pretty foolproof to me, right? Because we see those tactics now. We can see them still being used in society today. I mean, take a look. Do some self-reflection. Look at the systems, the structures, the policies, the procedures that you are engaging in every single day. And you can see that distrust, envy, and fear is the framework to keep people controlled, to keep people in line. This hasn't changed. But let's continue, right? So we're going to continue building on this. So now that we know that at the inception of this country, as the foundation of what the economic state was, we're looking at slavery as the entertainment industry, as the pharmaceutical industry, as all these industries that are the airline industry, these industries that keep the oil industry that keep America's economy and keeps America as a superpower. Slavery was once that. It's really not that far-fetched. A lot of people try to make it seem like it's so much different. Oh, we're so done with slavery. I mean, that's so far, in the past. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not. Those same systems that were used to develop an economy here in the New World they're the same ones that we're using right now. They really are. And I implore you, do not eat your name off the banana peel. Go and do your research. Don't just believe what's on television. Don't just believe what your podcaster is saying. Don't believe what the people around you are saying. Go and do your own research. Develop your own thought process, your own thinking, your own mind. I swear, you will thank me later. You will. So, the list of differences: age, color, shade, intelligence, size, sex, size of the plantation that they worked on, status on the plantation, attitude towards the owners, living spaces. Did they live in the valley? Did they live on a hill? Did they live east, west, north, or south? Did they have fine hair? Did they have coarse hair? Were they tall? Were they short? Now, this blows my mind. And forgive me for being, I'm processing while you're processing, right? Because although this information is not new to me, breaking it down gives me the same type of revelation that it would give you. So I say all this to say, when I look at the list of characteristics, the differences as Willie Lynch described them, when I looked at the differences in the list, and I juxtapose that list to our protected classes under Title 10, they pretty much seem the same. Age, race, socioeconomic status. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look it up right now. I feel like I'd be remiss not to read the protected classes. Race, color, religion, sex, national origin, disability, veteran status. I mean, these seem the same. These seem like the same. I say seem because I don't want you guys to get triggered, but it is the same. Mind blown. Really? Really, Willie Lynch? Okay, cool. And now, under Title VII, which is our Civil Rights Act 1964 law, and then Title X, which iterates that law and causes you to put it into application. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And then, before he went further, right, in his outline of action. So after he says to them, all right, I have this foolproof method. We're going to exaggerate the differences. We're going to use our framework, which is distrust, envy, and fear to control them. And then I'm going to list the differences for you so you know what the differences are. So we're going to go over them again. Age, color of shade, intelligence, size, sex, size of plantation, status on the plantation, attitude towards your owners, living spaces. Do you live in a valley? Do you live on a hill? East, west, north, south? Have fine hair or coarse hair? Are you tall? Are you short? Right? And then he says, I'm going to outline my action, but I want to carefully mention to you. He makes this a point. And when you read it, you can be like, all right, she's on point. Because I took this. These are quotes, direct quotes from Willie Lynch. He wants to carefully mention to the slave masters that he's training at the time, distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than respect or admiration. Wow. I mean, I thought, if you ask someone like me, which one is stronger, distrust or trust, envy or respect? Excuse me. I'm going to say trust and respect because that's stronger to me. I don't want to deal with your envy. I don't want to deal with your distrust. I don't have time for all of that. I want to be in a positive space. I want to, be fruitful, multiply. I want all the blessings that the Lord has for us, And for those of you who might be watching this video as your first time, I want you to know that we are a Christian platform. We do not cuss. So if you are in the comments, please keep your cussing away from here. We are here for healthy dialogue. We love Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, and we worship and serve him. So I want to make sure everybody knows that. But getting back to Willie Lynch, like I don't want distrust in my life. I don't want, I don't want envy in my life. I want people. I want to admire people. I want to respect people. I want to trust people. I want all the blessings that the Lord has placed for us to partake in. But he says, if you want to control and if you want to ensure that your economic enterprise is solidified, this foolproof method, y'all try it. I guarantee you, it is a tongue twister. Foolproof method of distrust, of envy, of fear. You can control human beings into doing what you want them to do for your profit. So let that sink in. Then, not only then, he keeps going. We are hitting the cusp of this. That's why I said we're going to have multiple videos of this multiple webisodes of this, because I feel like this is something that we have to continuously develop on. I think people are just not understanding that at its inception, this country was built on ensuring that one race of people advances at the detriment and oppression of another group of people. And I'm not saying that America is a bad place. It's a free place. In comparison to other countries around the world, America is a really, really great country. I am not saying that it's not. But the truth still remains that people are being oppressed in this country. And if we're gonna say that we're really free, we have to end the oppression of others. We have to be world leaders like we are in economics and foreign policy. And, we need to be world leaders in equity and justice and righteousness. What's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that. Perhaps it's because I'm a Black woman, and I want equity and justice. But I feel as though there are white folks out there who want it too, because I have some allies in my life. And like I said, I always shout out my allies. There's construction going on. Excuse me. They're messing up our time together. But we're gonna ignore them and we're gonna keep going. So he goes on to explain to his slave masters. No, matter of fact, he asked them, he implores them. Like I told you not to eat your name off that banana peel. He's saying, listen, I'm imploring you to not forget this important concept. And once again, this is a quote. You must pitch the old Black male against the young Black male, and the young Black male against the old Black male. You must pitch the dark-skinned slaves against the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves against the dark-skinned slaves. You must pitch the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. And you must also have your white servants and overseers distrust all Blacks. And in all that, it is necessary for you to make sure your slaves trust and depend on you. They must love and respect only us. Should I repeat that? You can rewind it. Go back. Listen to it again. So you must mistreat a group of people, ensure that those who oversee them hate them, and that you hate them, but make sure that they love and respect you. And this, my friends, helps us understand what racism looks like in practice. Yeah, triggering, right? We, people of color, live in a society that hates us. But we're asked to love and respect the society that hates us. So when your white friends are saying, oh, Black people are just people of color, just need to pick themselves up by their bootstraps and work hard and stop thinking about racism, they're failing to realize this fundamental principle that we're not loved enough to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps. We're hated. We don't navigate the same systems as you do in order for you to move ahead. Now, I'm not saying that that's an excuse, because there are some extremely amazing and brilliant people of color out there who have fought hard to get where they are, and they are excellent and deserve to be there. And I want to congratulate you for that. But I guarantee you, if you sit down with them and you have a conversation, they'll tell you, yeah, there were times where I did have to feel hated, or I did have to feel not respected in this moment. And I knew it might have been because there's also that thing. Because of that mentality that, oh, you can't keep using race. If you don't think about race, it doesn't exist. It then places on the person of color the thought, wait, is this because I'm a person of color that this is happening to me? Or is it because of my behavior? Am I being gaslit in this moment? Or is this really what's happening? We all have to understand that. We really, really do. And I'm not trying to make this as an excuse. I'm just saying, if we all understand that the fundamental principles of this country are founded in these types of frameworks, then as we navigate and we have power and we have privilege in places, we can ensure, like, wait, hold on, let me analyze this again. Am I harming someone? Am I looking at someone in this lens where I expect respect from them, but deep down I hate them? These are the types of questions I want to beg from you as we go on this journey through this podcast, because it's like, are we asking each other the right questions? So, given all that, I'm just going to make this part 1 because I think we need some time. I think we need some time to process and think about it, get some comments, and really analyze what policing blackness really means. And so I started today with the fundamentals. What is the inception of blackness, right? In terms of how blackness is seen in this country. And the inception is the slave trade. Then we'll go into how the term blackness was created. And we'll develop on that. We'll develop on that next time, because I don't want to put too much on you. I just want us to have some time to process. Talk to your friends about this, share this video and see what people think. Like, she lying, or I don't think you, oh man, that makes sense. Yeah, I saw that. And then once again, I implore you, do your own research. Because the point of this is to spark that critical analysis in you. To say, is this person right? Let me do my own research. I want you to do that. I really want you to go and do your own research. And I want you to come up with your own ideologies and see if they align with the actual facts that are being shared with you. Right? I don't want you to create your own ideology and run with it. See if your ideology aligns with facts. Be a fact checker. I know a lot of people are being a fact checker for, what's going on in society right now. So be a fact checker about our history, about the inception of this country, about what slavery was here. Be a fact checker about that. And most importantly, if you ever get a chance, you ever get an opportunity, go to the African American Museum of Natural History. It is amazing. It will be an eye-opener. It will blow your mind. And it'll definitely put you in a space where, you start to reflect. And I think that we need reflection right now. So that is it for part 1, excuse me. I think this is episode 2, part 1 of Policing Blackness. And we will be back with part 2 very, very soon. So I'm excited to hear your ideas, your thoughts, where you think this is going. If you have any recommendations of things that you would like for me to discuss, please comment below. Once again, follow us on Instagram at Imana Barina Inc. I will have all the links below. It was great talking to you. I can't wait to see you again. It's lit. Have a good one.